there everyone, welcome back to On the Flip Side. My name is Adam Shawalker, your host, and today we're going to be taking a look at this new Orbital album, Optical Delusion. This is the follow-up to 2018's Monsters Exist, an album that for me personally was the first modern Orbital record that I listened to, having really only listened to the first couple of Orbital albums as well as some material off of Diversions. And those early 90s acid house records, much like a lot of other stuff in this genre, I do enjoy to a certain extent, but I feel like I'm always kind of missing something, like I've walked into a room at the end of a conversation trying to piece together some context and I'm just not getting very much from it at all. And Optical Delusion as a follow-up is once again having a hard time winning me over in that regard, because there are some really cool tracks here, but there's a lot of moments that I think are fairly cumbersome. Especially when it comes to the vocal work, be it features or sampling, which is obviously spotty. It's basically a 50-50 on if the track is going to be good or if that element specifically is going to feel awkward and hard to listen to. Prime examples being Home with Anna B. Savage, with these really ham-fisted lyrics that paint an uncomfortably vivid picture of some dystopian landscape, which is pretty hard to take seriously when the lyrics are so torn between being meaningful and needing to match syllables so things rhyme. It comes off as a really disjointed effort. The flip side of this is the following track, Dirty Rat, with a Sleaford Mods feature, which for me is possibly the highlight of the album. I just absolutely love how much Jason Williamson has become the guy that you get when you need someone to be angry and British on your track, because he has such a dramatic, unignorable delivery on pretty much everything. And surprisingly enough, Williamson is actually hitting some pretty cool melodies here, and it's not like it's exceptionally amazing singing, but it's definitely more than I would have anticipated. And those are basically the two best and worst moments on the album, pretty much juxtaposed right next to each other. As for the rest of the tracks, there's some really strong songs towards the top of the album, with Ringa Ringa as a pretty solid opener track with its cascading melodies and this very well done, almost halcyon and on vocal sample work, which feels like a proper homage to the band's earlier work. Day One following that up is also a really strong effort, very dancey, not too in your face. It's got a strong groove as well and some fun synth work that I think helps keep a solid flow going. Are You Alive is where things start to lose me a bit. I do still really like this track, but you can tell that this is kind of the start of things getting a little silly and a little bit disjointed on the lyrical end of things, but at the very least the vocal performance from Penelope Isles is top-notch. The stretch of tracks that follow that is You Are the Frequency, The New Abnormal, and Home, which are particularly rough. I really dislike the entirety of You Are the Frequency, which has some really grating synth work, and the samples of You Are the Frequency, If You Want To, I find annoying. It lands somewhere in the same realm as a Spangle track or something, just a little too psych-heavy for me and heady in the wrong kinds of ways. The New Abnormal is an improvement over the last song, but doesn't feel like it adds much to this track listing. It is one of the most plain songs on the album and feels like an interlude that goes on for way too long. And again, Home just really does not land very well for me. I don't even really dislike Anna's vocal work here. I just hate these sort of pseudo-deep lyrics, and at no point does it feel like the writing was very well thought out at all. It just ends up being pretty hard to listen to. Dirty Rat, again, excellent track. It is funny how initially the song seems like it's going to land in that spot of bad lyrics, and it kind of does, but with the way that Williamson handles his delivery, it just fits super well. Requiem for the Pre-Apocalypse is a pretty solid drum and bass track. Kind of feels like a development on The New Abnormal in that it is a really stripped back track, but this one definitely seems to have a few more things going on, which helps a lot. What a Surprise is a pretty solid track, but I think its pacing is a little bit off for a song that's just shy of 4 minutes. It takes way too long to do what it's trying to do, like they had too many ideas and couldn't settle on where they wanted to go on this one song. Moon Princess as a closing track is quite good. I think the feature here makes this song entirely. There's a lot of really interesting layering that they're working with here. I am also a big fan of the very heavy, almost bubbly synth work that almost dances with the vocals. Reminds me very much of more of those early 90s house records. I'm getting similar vibes to Adventures Beyond the Ultra World by The Orb. So a lot of what is here I think is pretty on brand for Orbital. It's not the strongest material, but I do appreciate what they're trying to do here. Definitely a big fan of Ringa Ringa, Dirty Rat, and Moon Princess. Most everything else though I could take or leave. I think this is one that is going to hit a lot of people pretty differently, but for me, I think Optical Delusion is a pretty solid 6. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this album in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe. Check out my Instagram, my Reverb, and my Depop. Links to all of those are in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the flip side.